Okay. So, allow me to again thank everybody who was in here today. Um, if you can see the page spoken of there, Genesis 1:26-27, and I just kind of chopped it up and say, you are the image and likeness of the Creator. So, the goal of this meeting today is to discuss and explore together how we can begin to see the image and likeness of the Creator within us, each of us. And in addition, develop, if you guys think it's worth it, a 30-day campaign to launch out to the members in the group. Okay. So now I did a little research because when that scripture is read out, people tends to generalize it. But specifically, I wanted to understand what is an image. And this is research that I did. An image is a visual representation of something real or imagined that can be seen by the human eye. And I got a cat that I need to kill. He's making this annoying noise. In everyday term, it's a picture, a photo, a drawing, a graphic. That is an image. It is a physical, uh, eye-seeing, identifiable image of something, of someone. That is an image. Now, I got this from Chat GPT. Mr. Ross, that's your place. You've always referred me to that, and I'm grateful to you for doing that. But here's the thought that I want to inject with this image concept. And we see the brother in the mirror. He's looking at himself, right? And
Hmm.
he see who he see. But maybe there's somebody in that mirror that he doesn't see that he needs to be looking at. Uh, so I got this point. Can a parent walk into a crowd of people and identify their children by any chance? Let's say there's 100 kids in a crowd and your child is in there. Would you be able to identify your child?
I think so.
I think yeah, we all would. Hey,
Yeah.
mommy, hey, daddy, they're gonna run to you,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So, so the flip side of that was, can a child select their parents within a crowd of people? And if you can see the bottom part. So, if the parent know who their kids are, do those who are the children to the parent, um, can they notify? Can they recognize their father and their mother? It's going to make a little sense later on,
Mhm.
okay? But right now, it is to put you in a position to understand that the parents recognize their kids right off bat, no question about it.
Mhm.
But then this says, can the child recognize their parent? And there's a reason why I wanted to put that thought into your mind so we can, as we work through this concept, we can understand the importance of images and how we have a father that we may not recognize. And I'll get into why that might be the way it is. Okay, so the next slide. Now, I did a little research about images of the Creator, God, Allah, whatever you might want to call him. And these are the ones that's dominant out there. This one, you see, that's an Indian god. That's how India interpret their god right there. Okay. To his right or left, that is an Egyptian god. Okay. And the other boys, as you guys know, is a European interpretation of God. Okay.
Mhm.
So after looking at, and I couldn't find any other gods out there that was representable. A lot of them look weird and stuff like that. I said, oh, I'm not going to go that way. So if you look at all five of these images of God, that's probably most pronounced images of him. Let me go back here. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Let me get it back to where I want it to be. The point that I'm trying to make with representing these different gods, do you see yourself in any of those gods? You yourself. I'm
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. This is where my computer's been acting up, and it continued to act up. So, uh, Okay. Do you see any of those gods that you can associate yourself with? Of the five that's listed there.
No.
No.
Okay. So when I said the parent will recognize their children, okay,
Mm,
but can the child recognize their parent? And look, these visual drawings of our creator has been out here for centuries, okay? Everybody seemed to have interpreted God being non-melanated, I guess.
mm,
Unlike, and I don't see any images of God that I would say would look, they don't look like my mom and dad or my father,
well,
because we haven't had images to project that about us. So I think it's pretty easy for us to be lost and not understand who our God is, because these earlier people who put these things out, uh, for some reason decided that, and we all know that God is spirit. That's a given, right?
right.
But in that, somebody decided to say, well, maybe he's spirit, but I want him to look like me. I want him to be a white dude, okay? And then
Exactly.
the more I create that God who is in spirit to look like me, the more I can associate with that God, and I feel God powered, because now the God
Mm,
who created the human beings on the earth, now he looks like me because I painted him to look like me. And
mm,
so now I am of God. Necessarily, it doesn't mean that living human beings are not of God. But the point that I'm trying to make with this is to come to an understanding. Genesis 1, chapter 1, 26 and 27. Um, who was the first humans to be created in the image and likeness of God? Was it Europeans, uh, Native Americans, Chinamen, Asians? Who were the first humans created in the image and likeness of the Creator? Anybody care to respond on that
well,
That-
go ahead, Mr. Ross.
Well, the Bible, what do you say?
one?
Our situation here in America and the Bible, especially when you look at Genesis, okay? When you look at Genesis and the idea of Exodus, what do you say? Those who had done research we've all heard the story that there's no proof. There's nothing that says Hebrews were in Egypt uh, oppressed for any time. Okay? In the Bible, in Genesis, I'm saying this strange story
Mm,
that is something like 3,000 years old. Okay? This story, which is something like 3,000 years old, fiction that now comes to us. And the beginning of that story says everything God created was good. And
mm,
everything God created was good. And God created Adam out of the dirt. And obviously, if we follow that story, what color is good dirt? At least the best dirt.
come on now.
That's
Come on now.
supposed to be our story that
Yes.
started in some 3,000 plus years ago, a fictitious story. The Jews say, oh, hey, this is us. There's no proof at all unless you talk to some some Jewish Hebrew archaeologists and say, hey, yeah, we've got proof, but nobody else. Okay. And those other else's basically have nothing against Jews. They have nothing really against that story. Okay. The idea that, oh, well, they were oppressed and these people were oppressed and so forth and so. No, that whole thing didn't happen. But we get that story. Okay. And where Abraham's told that his descendants, first, Abraham is told, you have many descendants, okay? Many. And his descendant will also be oppressed in a land not theirs for 400 years. That doesn't mean we have to have something against Hebrews or Jews. What do you say? Our story, what do you say? Or our truth signed into law, as I say, H.R. 1242, signed into law by Trump that, okay, hey, you have been in basically English territory since 1619 to what is it? To 2019, signed into law. We're the only people in the world where 400 years has been signed into law by a Pharaoh we don't even like. Okay? But that story, a mythological story, somehow that traveled 3,000 years refers to us. That image where you say, yeah, hey, made out of the dirt, that's our story, which we're supposed to realize. And then 3,000 years later, okay, that, hey, it's been signed into law in, what do you say, in 2019. That's it. I'm go ahead.
All right. Mr. Haynes, you had a point?
Yeah, I was gonna say, uh, we, Mr. Ross kind of touched on what I was gonna say. It's we actually don't have proof. At least I don't have proof. Of what color God actually was. I think that I've read that no one has ever seen him. But when I read scriptures, or even when I was a kid, my parents reading scripture to me, it said, that God hair was like wool, his feet were like brass. So that projected an image in my mind that God was black.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm gonna stay with that since I have not seen God with my own eyes.
Yes.
And I'll say right there that God, that from everything that I've read, that God was black,
Okay.
a brown skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Sonia and Dr. Cook, welcome to the house. Good morning to you, Dr. Cook. Welcome in. Glad that you're able to join. I know you had a meeting earlier. She may be away. Sonia,
Yeah.
you're very thought provoking in how you share things. What are your thoughts after listening to those two opinions?
Well, I think that we really get hung up on a color,
On there.
and I
Yeah.
I see it in the spiritual realm. And he made a good point. He was made from the dust of the earth. What color is the dust? The description of him
Right.
in the New Testament. But I think I try to get past that because you can just really think yourself crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the Bible says he is spirit and we must worship him in spirit and truth.
Yes.
And I think, man, we just have these analytical minds. We have to know everything, and I just think that can be a stumbling block.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, can I say something about color?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, obviously, color was from the earlier part of creation was intended to be part of our image, any image. Color is certainly there. Uh, you, I, or nobody living had anything to do with it.
Right.
So, you know, in America, for instance, and I'll make a point that I've been trying to make it different venues when I discuss. We grew up in the late 60s with the marching order that America adapted that judge me not based upon the color of my skin, but the content of my character.
Mm-hmm.
So that was to disengage the evil that prevailed against people of color, Black
Mm-hmm.
people, to treat me based upon the character that you perceive and not judge me based upon the color that you care to put me into that mode.
Mm-hmm.
Color has been used so many harsh ways to define people in the most negative light that there is. The blacker you are, by some definition of individuals, they look at you as being a demon, a black cat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of those hurtful things that blackness seemed to endure in the minds of people. And so even if you look at the Yeshua, Jesus, the Son of God, when he came to the earth, one would have to think that if the first humans were of the dirt black, dark complected, right? They had dark skin. You think God said, wait just a minute. I made a mistake when I made them black. So I'm going to bring my son and let
Mm-hmm.
him be white. So that'll offset that mistake that I made. Do you see how color has been playing a role,
Mm-hmm.
specifically for the black skin, how it has gone through generations and through centuries, defining black as being the worst of colors that one could be.
Mm-hmm.
Nigerians, ladies, 70% of them, they bleach their skin to change the color for which God made them to be. Um, so generations after generations, and even, you know, you go to Puerto Rico or Cuba, the more lighter skin the person is, the more receptive he or she feels that they are.
Yeah.
And you look at what happened in this past elections, Latinos, even they too made the mistake to think that
Mm-hmm.
they could become part of the main society and that they could be accepted that way. Many years ago, when I lived in Orlando, Florida, I just want to make few more points, and then if Dr. Cook's here to chime in, you can certainly do so. Uh, I lived next door from families that was from Guyana, and there was a party that was being conducted. So I went to the party, and all of the Guyanese ladies are very beautiful, beautiful melanated skin and beautiful hair texture and all those kind of things. So the brother of one of the ladies whom I knew, we were sitting talking, having drinks, and he said, Tyrone, you know, when ladies from Guyana come to America, they don't want to get with black people, a black man. I said, what? He said, no. I said, why? They don't want their kids to have nappy hair.
Mm. Wow.
So they
Wow.
will choose a white male as a person to be their partner versus a black man. On those little rare traits that the baby might have nappy hair.
Mm.
So they steer away from black people, no matter how good the person character is, you know, how wealthy she might be, unless they're super wealthy, then they'll make that step. But they don't want their kids to have nappy hair. Now,
Mm.
I'm not making this up. I was told what I'm telling you guys.
Mm.
So the world has unfairly judged black skinned people. to be the worst of humans on this earth. We have been. You listen to the word, you listen to the tagline, Africa, the dark continent, the dark continent.
Mm.
When I researched that dark continent, it represented the color of the people's skin, which is true, no denying that. But then the other part of the darkness was that the people were not as intelligent. They lacked the intellect that the white people had. So dark again falls into the lowest element of human acceptance. Even in my childhood growing up, I'm light complected. So maybe I was treated different. I had nothing to do with it. And my father, who told me once when I was a young child, he was just got off from work. He was sitting in his comfortable chair, and he called me up to him. I said, "Yeah, Dad." And he reached out and with his right hand and said, "Put your hand next to mine." And I did so. And he said, "Because of your skin color, son, you will get much further in life than I did." And at the time I was young, I was under the age of 7. But I do remember that. But there is my father, the man whom I love. He was telling me about skin color, how it could hurt you. And I know from Mobile guys, we all can identify with those signs. White only, black designated in the back. And we didn't do these things purposely. I don't think our parents or grandparents purposely said, well, let's make a sign that said black fountains and white water fountains. Our parents didn't do that.
Right.
They really didn't. Our ancestors did not set out to say, well, we're going to have a different bathroom than the whites, and the whites can have their own. We didn't do that. The world did that.
Yeah.
So the way that we have been developed and all of the things that we've gone through has funneled the way that I think we think of ourselves today. And maybe we can't see ourselves in the image of God as we really are. And I know there's a logical reason to explain that God has no sense of preference, and I do understand that. But he had to have had a purpose when he created the first humans. He made the skin color to be black. I had nothing to do with it. None of you guys had anything to do with that. The people over in Africa had nothing to do with their skin color. But in so much as those facts are existing as they do, the world chose to mistreat dark-skinned people in such harsh ways through centuries. We thereby, I'm sorry, Mr. Ross?
The skin color situation, we did have that, what do you say, what they call it, the brown bag test.
Okay.
As far as getting into some black universities.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, are you too dark? Where you say we got brainwashed. And some of us that's old enough know how our mothers may have talked about nappy hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how when you have mothers may have, when you have kids, the way to or who to be with so that your kids don't have nappy hair like you that I got to be brushing.
All right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, like I said, hey, some of us are old enough to know those things went on. Okay. Move on.
Dr. Cook, welcome to the family. You want to join in? And Sonia, if you want to say something as follow-up, please do so.
Yes, just in reference to the brown bag, I'm very familiar with that. It wasn't too long ago that that was a qualification to get into sororities. But
Whoa.
what I wanted,
Hey, excuse me a second. Fill me in on the brown bag before y'all go any deeper.
the traditional brown paper bag,
Mm,
can you visualize the color? It's like a light pecan
right.
shade. If you were darker than that bag, you were not accepted into some organizations, and it wasn't just sororities.
Oh
And
my.
so, what I want to say about that is our own people, our own Black people perpetuate some of this. And then on the other side, I want to say everything is relevant to the timeline in history. Some people, went that way for preservation of life. Just think about the people who crossed over,
Yes.
Yeah.
moved up north for a better
Yeah.
life. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't fault them. I mean, I know people like to throw darts at them, but we were not in their timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
Their timeline was about preservation of life.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so we have to look at both sides. We can't just demonize one and not look at the other side.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because I
Uh,
just I just want to say this really quick. I do a lot of reading. I just read a historical fiction book by Sadiqa Johnson. She's a Black author. She wrote a book called The Yellow Wife. And of course, you know what the Yellow Wife was. She had a Creole appearance. Well, she grew up on a plantation. She was a product of the slave master and her mother. So, because she was high yellow, the slave master said that he would free her when she was 18 years old. He would set up a dowry for her, et cetera, et cetera. So there was privilege in that. And so the wife of the landowner became jealous of this little girl,
Mhm.
sold her into slavery down south. And you know what down south means, or downriver. Well, she became what's known as a fancy girl. I had never heard that term. And there was a whole history about fancy girls. And it was very prevalent in New Orleans. They are the Creoles.
Right.
They had their own society. They were like another nationality.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, they were upper echelon. They had their own balls. They perpetuated that. Those are the people who said, "No, you cannot marry him because he's darker than you."
There you go.
So we can't, you know, everybody. It was their timeline. If you had a son as a Creole, your main interest was making sure that the plantation owner sent that son to Europe because he would have a better life. Now your daughter, who was Creole, they didn't have to worry about her because she was going to marry into that society.
Hmm.
And I learned all this in this book called The Feast of All Saints, and it's a true story. So a lot of things are relevant to the timeline of these people.
Very
I
true.
just wanted to interject that.
Thank you. Dr. Cook, I know you're just joining us. Are you there? And if you want to share, if you have a thought you want to share, please don't hesitate. And she may be in another meeting because she's always got something going on. But listen, Mobilians, do you remember Heart of Mary?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
what was noticeable about the students who went there?
Creole.
Oh, now, personal experience. My wife, mother, was Creole, okay? And she was a beautiful lady, and she had a certain stage in her life. She was a school teacher, and she lost her sight, so she was blind for the rest of her life. So she met this wonderful man who became her husband and father to my wife. And my wife's complexion was closer to her father than her mother. My wife's sister complexion was more of a Creole looking person.
Mhm.
Uh, My wife caught hell because of her skin color. I could not believe it, but I experienced it. And her mother would say, I'm not a Negro. I'm not one of those people. So
Mm.
even then, skin color was an issue. And I didn't know how deep it was with my wife until one day we got in an argument and I said something I called her black or something like that. And boy, she went off on me. I'm telling you. But it was deep. The
Yeah.
pain that she had went through and she grew up with, and hearing that and trying to live a life to be acceptable with this content of the character was very devastating. But many people have gone through that. But anyways, I think the conversation is pretty intriguing, but let's move along. Okay, so I got into the likeness of God. We talked about the image, right?
Mm.
And so we know really God doesn't have an image, but this basically says that God does not have a physical likeness, okay? And God is understood as spirit, not a body. We have to that is the reality. That's the creator who created all of us. So any human-like description, like a hand, face, voice, are usually metaphoric in its behavior and its ways that we can kind of see things. So uh, this avoid the idea that God is limited, gender, or defined by, I'm sorry, guys, by a human being. So summary of that is that God doesn't look like anything that we know. So that is the spirit. So when you see depiction of angels as being white, angels are spirit. They don't have color. Okay.
Right.
Somebody decided that, hey, let's make an angel that be the color that we are. Yeah, well, that's a great idea. And so those kind of things has been adopted through the centuries, and they still manifest themselves today. You see angels in paintings in churches and different places that people are trying to depict angels as white, feathers, and all that kind of stuff. How can an angel be a bird? Okay. But that is the mind of man creating the spiritual world that he wants to exist that makes him relative to spirituality. Okay. And
No,
if you
I
have,
just wanted did you
yeah,
say something about bird?
I'm sorry, you kind of, could you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure I understood you. Did you say how can an angel be a bird?
Yeah, referring to the wings that they have on the angel. Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that was, I'm sorry, I kind of shortened it, but that was the idea. But angels can't have color because they're spirit. They
Right.
just simply cannot. And but if you saw an image of a black angel, honestly speaking, what would be your first thought? There's a brother with wings and he's black and everything about him is black. What would be your first thought? Be honest. Clarence Lawrence, I'm sorry. Come on. Come on.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I am 100% black. I'm gonna be elated.
Yeah, okay, you would. Okay.
Yeah.
But don't you think that he would be depicted with horns on the top of his head, right?
Yeah.
Black, darkness, all represent what they perceive to be evil, bad, and not good. That's my take on it. Now, if you
Yeah.
guys have different opinions on it, please share it. Okay.
Well, I see. I don't let me make sure I'm unmuted. I wouldn't automatically see it as evil.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't have that depiction in my head because I think about, like, I'll give you an example: the Black Panther
Hmm.
from Marvel.
Yes.
That's a fantastic image of a powerful human being.
Yes.
Hmm.
So if I saw an image of a black angel, I wouldn't, my mind would not gravitate to horns and
Yeah.
evil and whatever.
Yeah.
And I just know God is omnipotent, He's omnipresent,
Come
He's
on.
omniscient. He can manifest something however He wants it to connect with the person He's sending it to.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
You know,
sometimes
I was,
I just think it's our mindset.
yeah,
Oh, there you go. You say mindset.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
our mindset how we see things.
We'll get a little bit into the mindset.
Okay.
Okay.
And
But
and
that's wonderful.
the writer Stan Lee, right?
Yeah.
Stan Lee of Marvel made a specific point to come up with the Black Panther to help get rid of those thoughts that Black people had about themselves. Now you got a Black hero.
Um,
yeah,
Exactly.
That was
yeah.
Stan Lee.
yeah, that was one of the Black characters that was created by Stan Lee and Marvel. I used to be a comic book fanatic. There was another Black character who was a cowboy. He was a superhero. That one hasn't surfaced yet, but that was done by Marvel. And I read that Pacific magazine more so than DC, which had Superman, the Green Lantern, the Flash, but had no Black heroes. And that's why I became a fan of the Stan Lee. So when that movie came out, dating back when I was in the 10th, 11th, ninth through the 12th grade, I was reading comic books all the time. So
Yeah.
I saw all of those images. So I could embrace it like a lot of comic book fanatics, and I was one of them. So, but anyways, the creation of how they created perception, I guess, is where we're veering into. Okay, let's move along. So I got, what is the goal of this brief meeting? And I didn't want it to be very long. Um, I conducted, I think if you guys read Romeo from Nigeria, we did an experiment with him, okay?
Mhm.
And I asked him if he would each night, twice before he go to sleep, twice when he wake up the following day, say this to himself: I am the living human made in the image and likeness of the Creator. I told him to do that. And as a result, the comments you see in red, if you haven't read it inside of the post,
Mhm.
I don't know if I can, yeah. When I make this declaration, is what he said, I feel at the top of every situation. I am above financial stagnation. He deals with that all the time. He and I have talked about that because in Nigeria, things is not as good as it should be. And
Mhm.
no evil shall break me down. I am above every principality and power. By him doing this, and I'm going to do a video with him and post it out to the group to confirm there is some significance when you start believing in yourself and you start to associate yourself, not just as a standalone human being. We are on this earth and this planet, we're living at this moment, but we have a creator that made it possible for us to be here. And I believe through centuries and generations, we've been removed from that true connections. I know we have institutions like churches and stuff like that, but here we go with the next part. Oh, I thought I failed to put that in there. Hold it, guys. Did I delete this? I made a mistake and deleted the page. The point was to harp on Romans 12:2. You guys can read it.
Okay.
And if do you have your Bible in front of you, Mr. Haynes?
I can put it up on my phone.
Yeah. Do you mind reading that so we can all get in the same page of thought? Romans chapter 12, verse 2.
Let's see, give me a minute. Mm, Passing it up.
Um, I have it on my
Go
Oh,
right
okay.
ahead, man.
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
okay.
please, sir.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind,
Yes.
that ye may prove what is that good, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the first part of that, be ye not transformed, right?
Conformed.
To the ways of this
And,
world, right?
Right.
and be not conformed to
Not
this
conform.
world.
Yes, yes. So in
But
essence, I guess what I'm trying to make, we are conformed to this world.
Yes.
That's what we've been talking about. We are conformed to this world.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I wish we could get away from it. Like I spoke of about growing up in Mobile, the signs that I saw, black only, white
Yeah.
only, uh, that was part of conforming our minds, how
Yes.
to think about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's the world that we grew up in. Heart of Mary, as we spoke of, the brown bag, as you mentioned, Sonia, all those was conforming our thoughts about ourselves by the world that we live in. But then the second part, it says, be ye, what, I'm sorry, Mr. Ross, I'm terrible.
Will you transform?
Yeah.
Be transformed by the renewing of your mind,
So,
that you may not prove what is good and acceptable and perfect, the will of God.
so what this whole thing is the empowerment of the mind.
Yes.
Uh, and so that's what I wanted to discuss. Does the thought of attempting to do a campaign of this type make sense? That if we go out and do what Mr. Romeo right there is doing,
Hmm.
and he does it twice at night, twice in the morning, and you see the smile on his face. I'm not saying that smile was taken after he made this statement to me, but I know that he's a very hardworking father with two kids. He tried to find every way that he can meaningful to make a living for his family. He and I have talked about it many times, and I'm proud to say he's a good friend of mine. But he has things that he's finding in Nigeria to see if I could help him to sell it. I just don't have all those tools. And Mr.
Yeah.
Ross, if you might remember, I talked to you about the black sand. Yeah, that's the gentleman that brought that to my attention because he's trying to make a decent living. And it's very hard for people in Nigeria. All those nations over there, you got a lot of wealth, but it's not well,
Distributed.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is the problem. So when he started quoting this to himself, uh, he came out and told me, I said, tell me, have what you've been doing, have there been any impact at all? This is what he had to say. When I
Mm.
make the declaration, I feel at the top of every situation. And I've been doing it now for about 40 days myself. And I've had problems. We all have problems. But when I get into those problematical issues that would kind of beat me down, I
Mm.
say to myself, I am in the image of the likeness of the Creator. So I'm able to know that I have a different source other than just my own self to depend upon. And earlier I said, if you are in a crowd and you don't know your father and your mother, you'll be walking around looking for them, right?
Right.
And I said that your father and mother will know you. So the Creator know us, each and every one of us. Undoubtedly, he knows all of us. But do we really know him? And I think the intent of this concept, there's a scripture I think says you draw near to God, he'll come close to you. And I'm not a preacher, you can tell that. I'm not trying to be. But if we begin to engage the God within us, the Bible says, greater that he that is within you than he that is in the world. If we begin to understand just how sincerely close we are from him, only when we transform our way of thinking in our minds. So here's the thing. Are you for or against the 30-day campaign? If we decide to take this out to the group, um, do you see any kind of issues that you think that might be problematical or wouldn't make sense. Or and here's why I say this. Um, about 2.5 years ago, I had a campaign going to help people in Somalia. They had suffered through a drought. There was no water. They had no food, so they moved close by a little pond, a lake, and thereby they were able to supply themselves with the fish life that was in that lake. Then came the rain, and it flooded out the whole village. So those
Yeah.
people were sleeping in huts that was rain soaked and walking around in knee-deep water. But that's how they had to survive. And with that, was mosquitoes throughout the day and all through the night. But they still had faith, and they made it through that difficult time. And you all see in Africa, I'm sure, Sudan and certain countries, that it happens all the time. Uh, people don't make their circumstances to be the way that they are, but they have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say that a 30-day campaign, why 30 days? Somebody tell me that it doesn't make sense. But do you think if we would do something like what we see now has been done by one of the gentlemen, Romeo from Nigeria, do you think it might make sense just to discuss it and see if people want to participate? If you don't think it makes sense, that's why we're talking today.
I see no reason. I see no reason why anybody would not want to try something that might improve. What do you say? You are
Mindset.
what you think.
Yeah.
You are what you think.
Come on,
Yeah,
Mr. Lowe.
there you
Yeah.
And
go.
this is positive thought.
Yes.
Now, if somebody doesn't want to accept positive thought, then you shouldn't even want to be around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Mr. Ross, that I mean if anything that would help you with a positive mindset or make you feel better about yourself. Because like you said, the people in Sudan and Nigeria, they in some terrible situation, even right here in the United States.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, you got president building ballrooms, man, and people are homeless, you know.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would be a good idea.
Okay. Dr. Cook, how are you doing, young lady? I see you.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm
Uh,
out of the little meeting now, so I'm
I,
doing good, and I can say a few words.
okay. Okay. Well, thank you for joining. Are you in your car?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. So you kind of heard what we've been talking about, correct?
yes. I heard some of it.
Yeah. Okay. And you also, yeah, hopefully, you read the comments by Romeo that was posted out on Facebook, what he experienced.
When I
Uh,
tried to go back and view it, I didn't see it.
okay. Well,
And
I'll resend it to you.
okay.
Okay. So it's about creating positive affirmation into ourselves, talking to ourselves and telling us really the reality that we have to understand that we are the image and likeness of the Creator. We are. If that's
Mhm.
what the Bible says, and I believe the Bible, but the point is the reinforcement of that individually. You do it at night 2 times, and you do it in the morning twice. And then, as I have learned to do when I encounter tough situations, I said, and I tell myself, hey, I'm in the image of the Creator. Certainly nothing comes my way that I cannot endure, or it will contain or limit me to what my capabilities are. So
Mhm.
it's a point of self-empowerment.
Yeah.
It's a point of attaining the most positive attitude that you can. In my opinion, once you associate yourself as the image and likeness of the Creator, and I'm not talking about color now, okay? We
Mm.
know image is a physical element, but the likeness of the Creator. What is it to be like our Creator? Apparently, it's in the Bible because he wanted us to understand. I mean, nobody in this room had any influence when he said, "Let us make man in our image and likeness." We have to inherit that. We have to love our Creator for doing that for us. But Dr. Cook, you didn't hear the beginning. The question I asked, if a parent would walk into a group and try to identify his kids, could he or she do that? And yes, they could. But the turnaround point, if a child goes into a group and there's hundreds of parents there and he don't know his mother and his father, he'll never be able to identify them. So
Right.
the point that I'm trying to say is that if we begin to understand who we are, we will know who our Father is, and we will be like him. And all things that we do, all issues that we encounter, we'll be able to stand above those issues that will sink us and make us be less than what we're capable of being. Sonia, please, I've got to come back on you. Please, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So what are your thoughts? And listen, and before you go there, the last point I make, would it be beneficial for each agreeing member to conduct an individual 2-week test? You do it yourself and then come back with me 2 weeks and you share your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yes, I already do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think you're not mentioning that. So, um, Clarence, you're willing to do that?
Oh,
Mr. Ross
absolutely.
and Dr. Cook?
Absolutely.
So for the next 2 weeks, before you close your beautiful eyes, folks, before you get into that snoring mode, because we all get there, at least I do, say that to yourself.
Mhm.
Sincerely say it to yourself and mean what you say. And when you wake up the next morning, God
Yeah.
allows you to do that. Repeat the same thing for the next 2 weeks. And then when you encounter very difficult situations, speak that into your mind.
Mhm.
And then let's come back 2 weeks from now. And if you guys think that it made a significant difference in how you feel about yourself, how you approach things in your life, then I would like to develop, Sonia, with your help, because you're very good at this, format that we can, and Sonia, I'm putting you on the spot. I don't mean to do this, but, and I do mean to do it because I know you had a talent to do it. I would like to see how we can develop a concept that we can take out to the members. And here's the thing about it. It's not complicated. It's nothing that requires testing or further in indoctrinations, programming, and stuff like that. It's very simple that each person can begin to practice to themselves. Okay, it's not a class where we conduct, well, this is chapter 1, chapter 2. It's none of that. It's a simple, positive affirmation that you can make to yourself each and every day. So if you all are willing to do that, I'm grateful for you. And there's other people that couldn't make the meeting today. This meeting is being recorded. I will send a copy of this to them so they also can be on board. And so at the end of the week, guys, if you all agree, we'll come back. So is everybody in agreement?
Yes.
In agreement.
Yes.
In agreement.
Oh,
And
okay.
I want to interject one more. Come on,
Shoot.
word, interject. Okay. Hey, we know we've seen examples of the child knowing the parent.
Yes.
If you watch those animal shows, caribou and a bunch of deer herds out there, the the young ones get separated from their mother,
Yes.
and their mother doesn't go looking for them. They go searching for their mother, find her, jump up under her right away, get the
Mhm.
milk. And we know that if they don't, if they don't know their mother, they're lost.
Yes.
Okay.
Good point.
The wolves will be on them.
Yes.
Okay?
I love that.
Yeah.
I would like to say to further that point, imagine if that little animal that you're talking about was told by other animals, "Oh, that's not your mother." So she might be led astray, right? So we are animals in the bigger sense of the word, and we've had the brown bags, the color distinction, and all that kind of crap put on us.
Mm.
So we may not know our parents, but if we begin to say to ourselves repeatedly at night before you go to sleep, in the morning when you wake up, and just see what happens. And when you got something complicated, I've had a complicated issue that came up in my life recently, and I repeated that. And my wife said, "What, you okay?" I said, "Yeah," because I responded differently. My mindset was transitioned differently because my mind was transformed to understand just how powerful it is. So, everyone, I'm not going to keep you longer. I thank you guys for coming in and sharing your thoughts. So, next Saturday after next, we'll schedule another meeting as a follow-up. And if you will, let me know if there was some significance in your saying. Go, Sonia.
I was trying to see what date that was.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the 21st.
okay.
I may be on late. I have sorority meeting on that date, and I've got to present some information.
Then I'll do it the week after. We can come back 3 weeks because I want you to be a part of this.
Okay. So the following week, I'm doing a CPR class. So let's
Okay,
see.
so well, tell me when is it? Listen, because I'm gonna get you to write this thing up for us to present it to the members. So you
Yeah,
tell me when it's going to be good. And for 1 week, if you guys want to come back next Saturday, that's fine with me as well.
Yeah, next week, the 14th is fine for me.
Guys, you got it?
oh, that's good.
Okay, okay. 14th, that's on Valentine's Day, right?
14.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, okay. So on the 14th, Dr. Cook, would that work for your schedule?
And the
Dr. Cook?
14th.
Yes, uh-huh.
I think so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think the 14th would be okay.
Okay.
I know the 28th. The 28th probably won't. Will not.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Haynes, Mr. Ross, uh,
It's
let's
good.
do,
It's
let's
good
give
for
it,
me.
yeah, let's do it a shot.
Yeah.
And here's something too. I'm trying to write a book, and it's part of the process. Uh, if we taught our young kids at an early age start saying this to themselves, uh, what impact would that have throughout their entire life when they come into the challenges that we as adults have gone through? How will they see and feel about themselves, knowing who they are? So, anyway, that's another thought. I don't want to get into
Yeah.
that. But anyway, so next Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I hope everybody will be back and share your experiences and your thoughts, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Be blessed, everybody, and thank you so much for coming.
All right.
All
Have,
right.
Great day,
have,
everybody.
You
have a
too.
great day.
Hey, Brother Tyrone.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I saw the different images you had on there
Yes.
earlier. I couldn't say anything, but I wanted to say something about the images you had up there,
Oh,
and I
God.
guess some how some people say God looks. Of course, we don't know. We just know that his body is of copper, the bronze color.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was some other pictures you had up,
Yes.
and
You're
I wanted to say something about one of them. Look on it, the pictures that you had.
yeah. One was an Ethiopian god, image of God.
Was that the one that looked like a ram or a horse?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I mean, not
that
Ethiopian, but Egyptian interpretation of God.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yes. And
okay, because that I've never seen a picture like that, but when I saw that particular picture, that I thought I've seen something like that was like something that was evil, an evil look.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. And I looked up images of God around the world, and that's what came up with. But that's an Egyptian, and somebody who is an Egyptologist, I think, is I'm saying that correctly, would be able to tell you precisely. I don't know if it's Cyrus or whatever the name of the god that they had at that time, but that's what that represent that image.
So
But
that was a mythological image.
there you go. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
All
ma'am.
right. Well,
Be
you're
wonderful. You be sweet, okay?
All right. You too.
Thank
All right,
you as
goodbye.
always. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.